Ah, yes, the return of suffering. Looks like Dororo is finally back to its roots of where the series began. But okay, hold the phone. Did it just reveal that Dororo is in fact a woman? What? What? Okay. That was quite the left field reveal. I did not expect that at all. I'm kind of blown away because when you think about Dororo as a character and how she has been, I mean, you really never got those impressions that she was a she. Like, voice acting and all that, it seemed natural to think Dororo was a he. But then you kind of find out Dororo is actually a she, and you're like, whoa, like, it shocked me. And just seeing how much her life has changed thanks to the events, how she acts like a boy, it shows that she hasn't been able to live a life that a traditional person of her era, like a female in her era, would live. So I'm just like, wow, she really had to grow up, and she's trying to hide her identity where no one will technically know. It fascinated me, and I was just like, man, what a reveal to the story. And I wonder what type of significance this is going to have going forward in the future, because now knowing that Dororo is a female, I do wonder if this is going to be very vital. But anyways, let's talk about the ending sequence before I get into the main meat of the episode. And the reason why is because the main meat of the episode is very important, but I want to talk about the ending segment for I don't really have to get off topic from everything else that happened in this episode. So, at the end of the episode, it seems like Haya's father has found out the truth. He knows now that his son that was supposed to be dead is actually still alive. Because he finds out that there was a being without limbs traveling down the river. He found out, and now he's going to be probably finding out where his child is to finish him for, permanently put him down. But at that time when the father's getting word and hearing the story, you have it to where the son is peeking around the corner and listening in, which this can lead to probably a complicated situation, because we know from the son's perspective, he's someone that cares greatly for his parents. He wants his mother to be proud of him, and he knows that his mother loves him, but he wants his mother to be proud. And now knowing that he potentially has a brother, if I could assume anything, I'm assuming that he's probably going to want to take out his brother for it can be completely over, for he doesn't have to worry about someone that his mother's constantly thinking about. He can have probably some peace of mind. Or he's actually a good guy and he wants to bring his brother back where his mother can truly be happy, for then he can actually finally be noticed by his mother. One of those two things might actually happen. But whatever the case may be, the father now knows, and he's probably going to initiate an order to get rid of his son because he is getting rid of the demons that he made the pact with very long ago. So it's a very important scene, and it sets up for probably the final portion, or at least this next portion of the story, because we do know, I think it was announced that Dororo is going to be like 24 episodes now. That was announced. So we do know now that with this setup, probably the second half of the story is going to be Dororo and Haya chased down by Haya's father. I could see that happening, who really knows, but that's my guess. But okay, with that out of the way, though, let's talk about the main gist of what this episode was about. So the episode starts off very simplistic. You have it to where Haya, he's learning his senses, he's sniffing around, trying to figure out what is good, what is bad, and all that, how bad Dororo stinks, how good a flower smells. You just have, these smells coming through, and he's just trying to figure out what's going on, and it just starts off very typical. I mean, if you just learn how to smell, or the first time you're getting to smell, obviously you'd want to be sniffing everything, and that's kind of what he was doing. And then while that was going on, Dororo passed out and she got very sick. Now, it's not necessarily explained what it was, what she came down with. We could assume it's incorporated with a lot of things. For instance, exhaustion, hunger, a bunch of things just tied in together. Also, a cold probably, mixed in with it. So Dororo wasn't really doing that well. She got sick and obviously needed help. Thankfully, there was like a nun or whatever that was able to help her out, help her out before she could actually make a recovery. But if it wasn't for Haya actually in some ways caring for Dororo so much, then I don't think Dororo would have probably gotten the help that she needed. Because he grabbed Dororo and was like, hot body help or whatever. That's why, like, Dororo body hot. That's what Haya said, which was basically implying that Dororo's sick, needs help, please, cool her off. And thankfully someone was able to find, Dororo and Haya and give the help, which led into the flashback. So thanks to Dororo being delirious, not really understanding what's going on because of just having a fever, we see a flashback. And this flashback reveals a much-needed backstory to technically our title character, because this series isn't named after Haya, it's named after Dororo, which is a very weird thing that I'm still not understanding, because, when I think about the story, it's mainly about Haya, then why would you name the story Dororo? And that's something I still don't really quite understand myself yet, but even then, though, we get a much-needed backstory, and Dororo's backstory, it starts off very happy. Like, it seems like everything is going a-okay. And before this episode happened, we were already very aware, just by Dororo being alone, that we knew that Dororo had no family, no friends. Everybody was gone in her life. And from the brief little exchanges we've seen from Dororo with other people, we know that Dororo's parents are dead. We knew that going into this episode, so it wasn't really a surprise with the events that happened towards the end. We just got to see how it actually went down, and it's very sad. I didn't actually expect the mother to die like she did, because judging by how Dororo was talking about how her mother died in a way thanks to, constantly trying to help out or do favors for guys, I was like, how she didn't want to do that, but eventually she died to it. I was under the impression that's what she was going to die to, but that actually was not the case, which I'm surprised about. I'm really surprised by that twist to the story, so let's get right into it. So, the family was doing a-okay, and eventually this dude, I think his name was Itachi, kind of fitting name when I think of another Itachi from another series, betraying people, but Itachi, he wanted to make a life. Since they were so successful, and the group was so successful, Dororo's father was so successful, he thought, like, hey, let's go make a name for ourselves, let's get underneath the Lord and help out, let's fight in the battle or whatever, let's do something. And in that moment, it showed that he just wanted to better the life of all of them there. And in return, Dororo's father hit the man in the face. And it makes sense why the dude would turn against him, because he wants his own survival. At the end of the day, from judging by the story, many of those farmers and all that joined the brigade was just wanting to survive. They wanted to be able to have, their own rights and freedom. So the dude joining the Lord makes sense. It fits in with everything that was set up from Dororo's father, and the reason why this mercenary band was even formed in the first place. But then, when he did betray Dororo and everyone else, it was sad, but it also said a lot about his character. He could have easily have had Dororo's father killed off, but didn't. He got to walk away. After everything he's done, all the trouble he's caused, he got to walk away. Yes, he no longer could really walk properly, and yes, his family went into a period of starvation, but he still was able to live. He had his life, which means a lot. So that right there showed what type of person Itachi was. He wasn't outright evil, and he didn't really want to kill them. He just wanted to be able to benefit his life, because survival, it's a big thing. And so they became vagabonds. That's what happened to Dororo's family. And thanks to their principles, or what they lived by, is how they died. The father died in a way that was very brutal, but savage and epic. Like, he went down like a fighter. He died as he lived, a fighter. And his final moments when he took the dude out, it was sad, no, it was expected. He was someone that wanted to live by his word, live by what he believed in from the very beginning, and he didn't want to dishonor anyone that was a part of his force. While you see how the mother, eventually she succumbs to starvation and dies as well. Her injuries to starvation, she starves in a field and dies. And this scene holds a lot of significance for the scene with Dororo talking about how she died to the very act that she didn't want to do. And that was the whole Itachi scene, what it meant when he's like, you gotta think smarter. It's not just about strength anymore, you gotta think, you gotta have intelligence. What he meant by that was, you gotta go outside of the box to be able to survive in this era. And he was basically saying, if you really want to survive and still be with your kid, then you should probably think smarter and potentially do what Mio did a few episodes back. Obviously, the mother didn't, which I don't blame her. She just didn't want to go down that path and, have her body like that. She didn't want to do that, which I think that's kind of what this episode was wanting to show. No matter what path Mio or the mother would have taken, it would have not ended up in a happy state. It would have still been very bad for both sides of the story. There would have been no good ending, and that's the thing here. That's what's sad about it. And seeing how the mother died like she did, it's powerful, because in that moment, Dororo was left behind. She was alone. She had no one, and she had to fend for herself, be able to, feed herself. And, it's a very traumatic event for a child. And the whole scene with Haya potentially walking off and why Dororo was so scared was because she didn't want to have the same thing happen to her that happened with her parents. She didn't want to be alone anymore. She didn't want to be lonely. She wanted to have someone that was with her. So, great episode really depicting the emotions and all that and how far, maybe a mother and father would go for their child, but also when you stick to your principles, it could also get you killed. The whole food scene as well, when she's like, give me food for my child, and she had the hot boiling food poured into her hands, that was a very brutal moment because she was at that point where she knew she was going to die, but she wanted to do anything for her child. For instance, to be able to help him, or help her, to be able to live and have something to eat. And so when she fed Dororo, and she got to eat, it was an emotional moment because that effectively ended her life. It sped up the progress to her death because she let her hands get burnt, which was a major injury. Your hands are very vital, especially in that day and era, and any type of infection is going to be very worrisome because they obviously didn't have proper medical supplies. Then, with the fact of starving on top of that, not eating, it was a bad event for everyone. It was a bad time. And so, I feel bad. I feel bad for Dororo and what she had to go through. But I'm thankful that she, at the very least, was able to find Haya and have, Haya help her out. That is a plus in this entire situation. They're both helping out each other along this journey. Yeah, but Haya is making it to where Dororo isn't really lonely anymore, while Haya has someone that he can actually have with him that makes him feel like he's not lonely, and he doesn't really understand these emotions, but he doesn't feel as lonely anymore and like he's isolated all by himself in this world when no one that really even cares about him. But I think that's about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.